This is the Coach Maz Show, presented by Griffin's baseball alum, State Farm agent Alex Hetrick in Murraysville. Like a good neighbor, State Farm agent Alex Hetrick is there. Here's Dan Flickinger and the head coach of the Seton Hill Griffins, Mark Marizaldi.
And we welcome you to Griffins Baseball here on the Westmoreland Sports Network. It's Seton Hill and Cal U, the second PSAC series of the season for the Griffs. And, of course, we welcome you to the Coach Maz Show as well. The Coach Maz Show presented by State Farm agent Alex Hetrick in Delmont. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Hopefully nobody will be thrown off by the fact that somehow I'm actually wearing a hat and Maz isn't. I don't think this has ever happened in the history of the show. But we're going for something different this time. Maz, since the last time we talked, you split a doubleheader against Mercyhurst. Well, I guess the last time we talked was before your first doubleheader against Mercyhurst. So a series split with the Lakers and then a 6-5 victory against Shippensburg. Let's talk about that Shippensburg game a little bit. I know it wasn't the prettiest win for you, certainly, but again, you guys fought through some, showed some resiliency, I should say. And were able to come back in the last inning and get the victory. So again, it wasn't the prettiest win, but a win is a win, especially over a regional opponent.
Yeah, we've had so many conversations over the years, Dan, reviewing past games, and there's been so many times where, like, man, if you were a fan of college baseball, that was a great game to watch, and that was not the case against Shippensburg. It was not a very good game to watch. Our starting pitching was a little bit sloppy, and their starting pitching was really good, and our pitching got really good as the game went on. Our bullpen held down, threw up some zeros for like the last 4 or 5 innings with Marinchak, Rossi, Zilli. And I felt like they started some pretty good guys on the mound, but we were able to chip away on their bullpen. So they got up early and we shut them down, and we were down early and then we scored late. Kind of a weird game, but you're right. Like, we just found a way to win. We strung together a lot of quality at bats, drew some walks and some hit by pitches, with some timely hitting as well. But I kind of considered that a bullpen win. Just being down 5, we were down 5-1 in the 8th inning and found a way to win that game. So whether it was pretty or whether it was ugly, there was some resilience there. And you were right. Shippensburg rolled in there as, one of the better teams with record-wise in the PSAC and also in the region. So it's a quality win for us against a really good opponent.
It looked like, Maz, you guys really broke out offensively in that last game against Mercyhurst. You scored 13 runs, and then, as you mentioned, 1 run through 7 innings against Shippensburg. So maybe it didn't carry over, but again, you're able to tough out the victory. What do you kind of see from the guys right now at the plate where you're not getting that consistency quite yet?
Yeah, we're just not able to string it together. It seems like we have a couple of guys in the lineup each and every game, and most often recently it's been Owen Mandler. He's been having some really good games in Oberdorf, but there's been some ups and downs throughout that lineup. We haven't had a ton of continuity where we're stringing the quality at bats together. How do you improve that? I don't know if there's a magic button, right? It's just you keep chipping away and you hope that our offensive players start feeding off each other. For whatever reason, we've seen that more on the pitching side of things, where our starters are handing the ball off to the relievers, and there's a lot of continuity on that end. There's been great continuity on the defensive end too, but it just hasn't clicked yet for us offensively. But you gotta, there's a mix of some young guys in that lineup, but there are some experienced veterans. And I think as we get a little bit deeper into PSAC play here, hopefully guys will get more comfortable. We can start stringing some quality at bats together.
Well, one of those young players, Owen Henney, started the last 2 games at second base, had 3 RBIs against Shippensburg, and he also reached 4 times against Mercyhurst in the final game as well. What kind of impresses you about his game, Maz? And you kind of have to get a little bit creative to be able to get him into the lineup now with showing some good things, but also keep Owen Mandler in the lineup too.
Yeah, he's just very mature. He has very mature at bats, I should say, especially as a freshman. One of the things that got us in trouble in that Mercyhurst series, they had some really good pitching, but we chased a lot of stuff out of the zone, a lot of sliders down, sliders away, and That's one thing that Owen Mandler and also you see a little bit with Owen Henny, they have some pretty good discipline beyond their years as just a freshman. So, one thing that I think has really hindered our offense is just on base percentage. We have some guys that have been very productive in the past, maybe Wayland and Durham, that just haven't been getting on base at the same clip that they had in years past. And that's one thing that Henny has brought to the table. I think eventually you might see some slug from Henny as he's getting older, maybe some doubles and home runs. But right now he makes really good swing decisions and is able to get on base at a pretty high clip. And that's what our offense needs.
And again, is that it's a good thing, but is it challenging to be able to kind of make sure he's in the lineup, Owen Mandler's in the lineup, and then you look at that DH spot. Obviously, you want to get Jacob Haynes bat in the lineup as well at times. So, does that make it a good problem to have?
Um, I guess so. Yeah, it's a good problem because there's options, and one of our best attributes as a team is that we have depth. But it does become challenging to get all of the bats in the lineup that you'd like. So, I think right now, at least in the case of Haynes, he'll probably split some duties behind home plate with Durham. It's day to day, man. We have a crop of probably 15 guys. I would say five of them are about interchangeable, and you'll probably see that over the next couple weeks in the lineup.
And by the way, if your name is Owen and you want to play for the Seton Hill baseball program, do you get like reduced tuition or something like that?
Yeah, it's it's been interesting in practice. Like I find myself saying, "Oh," and then like four guys turn and look at me, and I'm like, "Dang it, I
Crap.
gotta be
Yep.
more specific." Yeah,
Christian Zilli got the win in that scoreless inning he threw against Shippensburg, and you love the kid from day one. I've had a chance to follow Christian throughout his high school career, throughout his Seton Hill career, and I know he's been trying to figure out, is he a position player? Is he a pitcher? And I know we kind of talked about this on the season preview show, but I mean, the start to the season he's had has just been tremendous. 7 appearances, 4 saves, 1 win, 11 strikeouts in 8 2/3 innings. How valuable is Christian right now coming out of the bullpen?
incredibly valuable. Last year, even the last few years, you think back a couple years to Nash Bryan, automatic save. Last year, he had two options with Blake Barker and Caden Wood, and those are two massive voids at the back end of our bullpen. And to be honest with you, we kind of projected Mike Marinchak to kind of slide into that closer role.
Yeah.
But he's capable of much more than that. As you see, we've thrown him as an extended reliever, and he's done so well in that role. And that kind of left an opportunity open for Zilly. And, like I know you've covered him, Dan. You mentioned, since he was in high school, and you give Christian the ball on the basketball court, he goes and scores. You give it to him on the football field, and he's going to go make plays. And, we gave him an opportunity, ran with it, which, knowing Zilly and the way he competes, it's no surprise.
Speaking of the bullpen, Maz, I ran into Ian Korn earlier this week, talked to him a little bit, and he said he's really close to getting back, obviously, with Tommy John. What's kind of his process right now, his timetable, and when he does get back and become an option for you? I mean, we saw the stuff, that he has. Whether he can get back to that quickly, it remains to be seen. But what's his process right now, and how valuable of an arm can he become down the stretch?
Yeah, he actually got his official, fully cleared clearance from the doctor. So we can put him in a game right now. No, I don't think he's ready, right? He still needs to start facing more live hitters. But I would say in the next month, it could be a week, it could be 2, 3 weeks. You'll see him pitching in a game for us, which is so exciting. I'm so happy for him. Knock on wood, his rehab and recovery has gone just about flawlessly. He's super anxious, but we have to
That's what he told me. Yep.
yeah, we've got to be smart on how we ease him back in. But knowing that Ian Korn is there to help make an impact on our pitching staff the last half of the season is really exciting. And in a related way, Jared Dowie threw his first inning against Mercyhurst.
Yes.
And of course, the first pitch he threw got knocked over the fence. But then he looked absolutely fantastic, retired the next three hitters. Two guys that, have started games for us, have played huge roles in the bullpen. And, and I love our pitching staff. We're in a really good place. We're in the top 10 in the entire country in like 4 different categories. And now we have the ability to infuse Ian Korn and a Jared Dowie into that mix. It gives us so many options for both starters and relievers coming down the stretch, which is really exciting.
Well, let's turn our attention to today's opponent, Maz, Cal U. And wow, what a start to the season that Coach Connie's team has had. 15-4 record. They're 4-0 right now in the PSAC. Did you kind of, and I know you and Coach Connie are close when you're not playing each other, of course, but is this something that you expected from Cal coming into this season? And what do you see from them right now?
Yeah, they were super young last year, like young, like almost freshmen and sophomores across the field. And you could see they were winning games and you could see some talent there. So I kind of anticipated them being pretty good, but I felt like their learning curve has really sped up. Just about their entire starting rotation is just sophomores. So they don't have a ton of innings under their belt, but they're like third in the country in ERA right now, and just a phenomenal pitching staff with some really good athletes that have been in the lineup a couple of years offensively. They're a typical Cal team where they don't beat themselves. They play great fundamental defense and they put a ton of balls in play, throw a lot of strikes. You're not going to see like 95-mile-an-hour arms or guys that are just hammering the ball over the fence. They just beat you with consistency. They do the really fundamental things extremely well.
What do you guys have to do to have success in this series?
I think on the mound, as long as we don't beat ourselves and we play really good defense, because again, Cal, they move the baseball a lot. They'll put some runners in motion. I don't think it's a team that you can afford to put on base via the free pass. And offensively, like I mentioned before, I think it's just about connecting some dots for us. Getting the 4, 5, 6, 7 guys really in that run driving mode and getting a little bit more on base percentage at the top and the bottom of the lineup.
Maz, thanks a lot for your time as always. Go have some fun today. Get two, all right?
Sounds good, Dan. Appreciate you guys being here.
Absolutely. That is Seton Hill baseball coach Mark Marizaldi. The Coach Maz Show can be seen 20 minutes prior to first pitch during every Seton Hill baseball broadcast here on WSN. We'll have first pitch coming up right after these messages.